All right, hello, and welcome to another episode of the May Queens podcast. I'm Mary Graves.
And I'm Heather of Heather Loves Horror.
Woo! All right, so for today's movie, before we jump into it, I feel like we should talk about or mention the big elephant in the room. We chose the movie we were going to watch and talk about today about 2 weeks ago. And today's movie is Tourist Trap. And as of last night, we just found out that Tanya Roberts, who's one of the stars in this movie, she was also on that 70s show and one of the Charlie's Angels, passed away. This was not planned. I just want to make sure people know that we didn't like suddenly change up, what movie we were gonna do. It was just announced last night in the news, and I don't have that kind of time to just switch what movie I'm going to talk about, take notes on. Don't know about you, Heather, but I definitely don't. And you've got kids, so you probably definitely don't.
Yeah.
But I think that it's the perfect time to talk about one of her works. She was a fantastic actress, gorgeous, especially in this movie. It's the perfect coincidence, I guess. Apparently she got sick around Christmas Eve. She actually was, I think, walking her dog, they said, and she passed out. And they ended up putting her on a ventilator, not related to COVID-19, from what I can see in the news. And then she just never recovered. So I think they said she was 65, which makes it even sadder because that's just way too young. But also, other weird coincidence, our friend Lucas from Lego Horror Videos said that he posted, and I went to his page and I saw it, her death scene on his Instagram account. And if you're not following Lucas, you should go follow Lucas at Lego Horror Videos. But I thought, wow, weird coincidences. I mean, not just the fact that he posted that and then she died a couple days later, but also the fact that he posted that and then we're doing our show a couple days later. So it's a Tanya Roberts season, I guess.
Yeah. At least she's getting some acknowledgement, she does anyway, but she gets extra acknowledgement now, even though it wasn't planned.
Right. Well, I don't know if I've seen her in anything since that 70s show too. I'm pretty sure she's been in stuff, but that's like the last prominent role I remember her being in.
Yeah, same. I miss her as Midge. She was so funny.
Yeah. The mom that probably started the whole MILF thing to begin with, I'm guessing.
I would think so. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. So how has your week been so far?
So far, good. It's only Monday, but I had one of my laptops crash. You asked me what kind of computers I had. Well, I have two Dells. One was a cheap new Dell, and then I have an old expensive one. So I just got everything redone on it today. I fell asleep with Microsoft 10 loading or downloading, and then I woke up and finished on the Creative Cloud, what I wanted to download. So that makes me feel better, but it just hindered me from getting my Heather Loves Horror episode out sooner because you know how those little nuances are. They're a big step back. Seem like a small step back, but they're not.
I feel like this is the week for computer issues. Like I updated, for some reason I didn't get an alert that there was an update for my Mac laptop, which they have this new update. And I guess there's all these bugs in the update, which is maybe why they didn't alert people, but I was just checking to see if there was something I could update to. And so I did. And now 3 of my software programs no longer work because the developers didn't do anything to upgrade the software so that it could be compliant with new Mac OS or even probably PC systems. So now I have to figure out a new way to rip DVDs if I want to, which I do sometimes. And I need to find a way to convert my VHS tapes and any other film that I have onto digital because I had one of those Roxio converters and now it no longer works. But I did have one that's a few years older. Maybe if I buy a newer one, it'll be fine. And then my Microsoft Word from 2013 or something no longer updates for this new OS. So Now I have to get a whole new Microsoft system, whatever they call it, Windows, I guess. Well, not Windows. Windows, I think, is what you actually have on the PC, but the Microsoft suite of software. I think that's what they call it. But yeah, now I have to finally update that if I want to access all my documents. Although I think they open on some built-in Apple products. It's a great day for computers not to work the way they should.
Sure.
All right, so let's get into this movie, Tourist Trap. This was my second time watching it, and second time through, I think I was less distracted than my first time because I didn't 100% understand what was going on until I watched it the second time through, and now I'm really creeped out by this movie, and it's fantastic. It really is an underappreciated gem. This is what we're calling this segment, because we're talking about just one movie instead of a topic, Films and Flames. Just kind of goes along with the May Queen's burning thing from Midsummer. And this one, like Phantasm, was my choice a week or two ago. This one was your choice. Why did you choose Tourist Trap?
Because it's underrated, and it's one I had picked up at Texas Frightmare Weekend. I don't recall seeing it prior to that. Now, I do have a bad memory, but when I rewatched it, I didn't remember like I had even not a thing. But anyway, it was just so good. It's like weird and eerie how it plays out. And like I said, no one talks about it, but it reminds you of Texas Frightmare because of that reason. And then it's just like, how can you not love it? I was watching it again when it was streaming on Shudder, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is not on our list. This needs to be on our list.
Yeah, it's it's got a big name star with Chuck Connors in there, which I don't know if I've actually seen any other Chuck Connors movies, to be fair, or TV shows, but I know that my dad even knew about this movie. I can't remember. Oh, he was watching something, I think it was a Western, and I walked into the room and I'm like, I remember seeing that guy in a horror movie recently, but I can't remember what. And my dad said Tourist Trap. And I'm like, how do you know? He doesn't like horror movies to begin with. I'm like, how do you know about Tourist Trap? He's like, yeah, that's a movie I've seen before. Like, okay. So definitely a movie I need to check out if my dad can remember it. And then you have, of course, Tanya Roberts, who was a big star back and especially in those days. That was her time. And unfortunately, I don't really know a lot of the other people who were in it, especially the women who play Eileen and the star Molly. They haven't really done anything huge since this movie. They've had a couple of things, and then they'd have like years of nothing, and then maybe something in 2020 came out or 2018. But they're still alive, from what I can tell. That's how I found out Tanya Roberts died. I was on IMDb while watching this movie, and I was looking up to see who is still alive in it. Chuck Connors is pretty sure Chuck Connors is gone. I can't remember if I looked them up. I'm pretty sure he's dead though. And if I'm wrong, I will put it on the YouTube video in the corner. Mary was wrong. But I'm pretty sure I'm right. And so I was looking up just to see people's backgrounds, see what they did in other movies where I might have recognized them from. And I looked up Tanya Roberts, and it didn't dawn on me that she was, I saw her on that 70s show, and I thought she was a Charlie's Angel, but I wasn't sure. And I only knew that because Gilmore Girls referenced her because they were collecting the Charlie's Angels plates. And they got the Tanya Roberts, which was hard to find. But when I looked her up on IMDb, they had already updated it that she had died that day. And I looked at it. I had to keep looking at it and see if it said 2020 or 2021. And it said 2021. And I looked at my Fitbit, and I'm like, what is today's date? I checked my laptop. I've had a mini freak out. I ran downstairs and I told my dad, oh my God, Tanya Roberts died, because he didn't even know. TMZ had only reported it about an hour before I had seen it on IMDb. So it was still fairly new. But it's sad to lose her. But she makes a lot of this movie. I'm very sad about what happens to her character, but I absolutely loved her in this movie. She had a great stage presence to her. So I'm glad that we're giving this movie some attention, and I'm glad I had a chance to rewatch it too. it starts off like your normal horror trope movie. A car breaks down in the middle of nowhere and then chaos ensues. You got the teenagers, or I'm guessing they're 20 somethings, in the Jeep. You got the one guy, Woody, you only see a couple times in the movie, rolling the tire that's not filled with air. Okay, I don't know a lot about cars. Do you know a lot about cars?
Nope. I used to know how to change my oil, but I don't even think I know how to do that anymore.
Okay. Well, I don't even know how to change a tire, and I feel like that's something I should learn. But if you have a deflated car tire that needs air in it, does it still roll?
I would think no. I don't know.
Because you see Woody at the beginning of this movie rolling it down the desert.
Yeah, it was a huge gash. Like, it wasn't like a little hole, you know, it was huge. Like, I don't know, maybe, I guess it would still roll. I don't know.
Well, I mean, not the one on the Jeep, which I'm guessing either popped because of Mr. God, I can't remember his name, SLAUSEN, Mr. SLAUSEN's magical powers, or he shot it with a bullet to make a gap that big. But the spare tire that Woody had packed and he forgot to fill with air, that one was rolling perfectly down the street. And I thought, if it doesn't have air in it, would it roll like that? No.
So strange.
Yeah, I don't know enough about cars.
We need to Google it.
Yeah, I know, right?
If I wasn't on my phone, I would right now.
Same. I put all my other devices away, or else I'd have my laptop right next to me. Okay, so the kids discover Mr. SLAUSEN, and first the women discover him while they're naked, jumping in the lake. First of all, would you go into a random lake that you didn't know of and skinny dip? I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere, and there could be things in it.
No, when I was younger, I did skinny dip in a bayou with my then boyfriend, but that, like, I was really uncomfortable with it. I was just trying to pretend like I was all cool with it, you know. So no, I definitely would. You don't know who's watching. And like you said, you don't know what's in there. Maybe somebody could have in there. You don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And he when Mr. SLAUSEN shows up and they're skinny dipping, he asks if their fourth person with them is a girl. He's got a gun on him. He's staring like a total creep. I mean, he's a decent looking creep, but he's still like red flags everywhere. And I don't know, that scene just gives me the wiggins. And then he talks about the water moccasins, the snakes.
And they're like all a little squeamish.
It's like, you didn't think about that before when you jumped in? There could have been snakes during the daytime. And we get to see later on a snake in the lake too. Just one random snake in the dark.
Yuck.
Yeah, totally yuck. Okay, so afterwards, Mr. SLAUSEN figures out, they tell him that their fourth is a guy, and it's Jerry, who's by the Jeep, which that made it really easy to memorize his name, but it's Jerry. Jerry's got the Jeep. And he takes them all back to his museum of junk, which apparently the problem with his lifestyle is that there used to be just this road, and the government built a highway, and now there's no way for people to get to his museum unless they take the long way, which people don't want to take the long way to get to wherever they're going. I guess that also begs the question, why are these kids taking the long way to get to where they're going? Why aren't they on the highway?
That's true. Is it? I don't know.
I feel like we need a prequel where we see them plan out their trip.
Yeah, definitely. Because they were already on the back roads, right? So I don't know. Just young and dumb. I don't know.
And another theme, I think, in a lot of horror movies, you got the kids in the middle of nowhere, and they're young and dumb, and then chaos ensues.
Always.
Which brings me to Molly, because she is like your non-typical final girl in this entire story. I thought she was going to be one of the first people to die, or that she at least wouldn't have, spoiler alert again, made it all the way to the end of the story, just based on the way she reacts to Chuck Connor's character, Mr. SLAUSEN. I mean, she's the one who says, "Hey, it's okay. Thanks for taking us in your Jeep. We'll go with you." And she's the one who's given out her name to the guy first, too, when she's naked in the lake.
Yeah.
And then the biggest disappointment is when they all start separating from each other. Like, that's horror movie 101. You don't separate. First Jerry gets taken by Mr. Slausen to go back to the Jeep, because he's obviously not taking him to fix the Jeep. And then Eileen goes to check out the mysterious house that's also on the land, down these really weird steps you never actually get to see in the grass. And then after Eileen doesn't come back for a good 15 minutes, you have Becky, played by Tanya Roberts, and Molly running over to the house. But midway to the house, Molly's like, I'm going back to the museum. We shouldn't have left. You left your friend. You left your friend. And that is why she was able to get captured. Maybe if you were there 2 against 1, you could have had a chance. Although they didn't know they were dealing with a guy with telekinetic powers. So.
Or they could just stay the fuck away from the house like he told them to. That's why I'm like, why? But, you know, you're going to do in that situation. So.
Yeah, what do you think would have happened if all 3 of those women would have just stayed put, like you said? What would Chuck Connors have done?
Good point. Would he still have killed them, or would he have spared them? I mean, he had this weird thing for Molly from the first time he saw her. So, I don't know. I feel like maybe if they had listened, they could have been spared. But, like, he killed the Jeep guy, Jerry. So, you know, it kind of doesn't look that way. What do you think?
Yeah, well, because they were together, I feel like if he had tried something, there would have been more of a chance for there to be a fight. Whether they could have won that fight, I don't know, because he has such great control over his powers. Like, he's got guns shooting from mannequins' hands. He's got mannequins falling on people. He's got pottery flying across rooms, hitting people in the head, and oh God, poor Woody. He gets a pole in his back and then blood starts dripping out of it. Ugh. So he's a powerful dude. He could have taken on all 3 of them in various ways, but he could have also gotten more sloppy by having to focus on 3 different people. Speaking of Jerry, the taking out of Jerry by the Jeep, when do you think he became a doll? Because you see him in the basement, he's locked up and he's helping Tanya Roberts get free. And unfortunately, poor Tina, this random girl that's been in the basement for God knows how long, you get to see her get suffocated and die. But then Jerry escapes through the window, and Mr. Slausen, dressed as his brother Davy, which who knows where Davy actually is, because he's got a mask over his own face. So we never actually see Davy. Every time we see Davy, it's him in the mask. But we see him jump through the window and Davy goes after him. And then the next time we see him is when he's rescuing Molly, and then he's the doll. So was he the doll after that chase, or was he the doll the entire time and Mr. Slausen was just playing with Becky, played by Tanya Roberts? Because almost immediately after chasing after Jerry, he's at the museum and he's killing her with a knife in the back of the head, which also really gross.
Yeah. I wonder if he could have, because he moves the dolls, right, with his powers. Yep. If he was moving him to save her, and fucking with her, like you said, or if he just did it with his powers and they just didn't show it and it was just assumed. Yeah. I don't really think about that.
I know, it's a total mind fuck. It's like, especially since, okay, so let's talk about Mr. Slausen's powers. Okay, this is the part where when I first watched this, I had no idea what was going on because I was a little distracted the first time I watched it. I thought the mannequins were actually partially alive, that he was somehow reanimating these dead bodies in their mannequin form, which is why they could move the way they did. It didn't occur to me that he was telekinetic and he was moving everything. But then there's the confusion where, like, Molly sees Jerry as a human being when he first walks through the door, and it's not until Mr. Slausen starts tearing off an arm and takes off his head and throws it on the ground that she sees him as a mannequin, a puppet. And then there's a scene where he's dancing with his wife, so we know his wife got turned into a mannequin, and it's not just a display, that's probably actually his wife's body that was mannequinized. But when they're dancing, it looks like his wife. So either there's a psychosis that Molly is going through, or Mr. Slausen can also do some sort of telepathy where he's messing with what people see and messing with their brain somehow. So that's the part that confused me, because I thought these mannequins are magical. He put magic in them. No, he is controlling everything, and it's really weird.
Yeah, he's got some like X-Men powers.
Yes.
He's the X-Men we never heard of.
Do you think his brother might have had powers too?
I'm trying to decide. Did he make up his brother? Like, is his brother like a different part of his personality? Like, is that his alter ego? Did he kill his brother? If he really did have a brother, then I would think possibly, yeah. But I just have a feeling that it was maybe like an alter ego or different personality that he just kind of like blamed certain things on or would use to talk about to make himself seem more trustworthy because he has a brother and he talks about him so much. Like sometimes people just spout out whatever to kind of like gain someone's comfort. And so I kind of thought about that, but I'm not sure. What are your thoughts?
I never thought about it, that Davy might not actually exist. And that actually may make more sense. The only thing I couldn't see is that he talks about his wife cheating on him with his brother, but maybe she didn't even cheat on him. Like, that didn't even occur to me that he could be lying about so many more things than he was already lying about. But liars, they lie all the time. They lie about the smallest things, and then you don't see it until you see it. So that makes sense that he could have made up the lie. Oh God. And when he talks about why he killed his wife too, that just bugged me. But he could have made up the lie that she cheated on him because he says it himself. The law gives him the right to kill her, and both of them, because she cheated on him. So he is in his own mind. He might have twisted what happened to give him the right to kill her in case anybody came around that was the law. Oh, it's so creepy. God. But yeah, he's like, it's God-given right. The wife is supposed to take care of her man, and she wasn't doing that. And then she cheated with brother Davy, and he had to kill her. That's just so wrong. Yeah, I never thought about that before. I need to watch it a third time now and see that in that perspective.
Yeah, and like look it up and see like what the theories are. I wish I had done that to see like, if anyone else thought what we thought or if we were alone in what we've got on our minds. I know like some movies are all about how you interpret it, but then there's so many movies that really do have a meaning and it's not about your interpretation. So it's kind of hard to figure out what's really going on sometimes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I wish I would have looked up theories too, because now I'm wondering like what other people are seeing when they watch this movie. But I do know that the director of this movie also directed Puppet Master 10 years later. So there's a theme about the wife in the very first Puppet Master. There's a loyalty connection there too, where she's not actually cheating on him, but he wants to use her to reanimate. There's a lot of conflicts between married people in this guy's, well, at least his two biggest movies. As far as I know, those are his two biggest movies. Weird thing too. Have you seen Puppet Master?
Yeah, I haven't seen it in forever though. Okay. I got it around here somewhere. But yeah, I've seen a lot of them. Okay. I don't know. I know that I saw the last one too. I don't know if I saw like the one or two before that, but I've seen quite a bit. But like I just remember, I don't really remember the plots. I just remember like I can't remember his name, but like the little drill head and then Blade, the leech girl.
I think I can't remember what Drillhead's name was. He had a specific name too. But there's Blade, and then there's Pinhead with the tiny head and the really big body. But the reason why I bring up Puppet Master is because I watched that a lot as a kid. That movie was like repeat television for me. It was on one of my mom's cable television VHS tapes. So we had it recorded. And when I watched Tourist Trap, not even knowing that the director was the same, at least I think he directed both. I know he directed this one, and he wrote Puppet Master, or vice versa. But the music, when you listen to Tourist Trap, is almost exactly the same as what you hear when you're listening and watching Puppet Master. And I thought, oh my God, is this a Full Moon Entertainment movie? And I don't think Full Moon was even out yet in the 70s. I think it was the late 80s the Full Moon Entertainment started. And then the little bit of research I did do behind the scenes turns out that Full Moon Entertainment released the first DVD and Blu-ray copy of Tourist Trap. So I think Tourist Trap may have eventually, the production studio, I know nothing about the production studio. I think it was like a personally owned independent studio, was connected to Full Moon Entertainment eventually. I just need to find the information that connects the dots, other than the fact that Full Moon Entertainment did release a DVD and Blu-ray. But you look up the production company that worked on Tourist Trap, and you don't see Full Moon Entertainment anywhere near it. I just don't think they were established yet. But yeah, so there's a huge connection between Tourist Trap and Puppet Master, and you could hear it in the soundtrack, and it just takes me back to my childhood.
I'm gonna have to rewatch Puppet Master now.
Oh yeah, I did one for I did that for Terror Tuesdays 4 or 5 months ago. So it is fresh in my head, but you hear that music and it's just like chills up and down your spine. It's kind of like old circusy music. So
yeah. Well, before we get off of that, did you see the newest one, The Littlest Rake? I think Dee Wallace was in it. I was pretty pleased with it. I figured it was going to be, because, like, I loved them, too, as a kid. Like, I love Full Moon Direct, though. Like, I love their movies. I don't care how cheesy they are. Like, Trophy Heads. Love it. Yeah, I forgot.
Did you used to watch the Full Moon behind the scenes stuff at the end of each video?
No. I'm pretty sure I turned it off.
Yeah, because I think they would say before the movie began, stay tuned for, I think it was Video Zone was what they called it, which was funny. It's funny to me as an adult because I didn't know as a kid there was a movie called Videodrome out, and I think they kind of based the name Video Zone off of the Cronenberg movie Videodrome. But yeah, if you go to the end of the credits, and I'm almost positive it's at the end of every single Full Moon Entertainment movie, but I haven't watched them all, so I can't say that that's true. But they would have behind the scenes stuff from the movie you just watched. And then they would also have, like, here's what's coming up next on Full Moon Entertainment. Like, here's behind the scenes about this movie that's coming out. I was really big into the Subspecies movies with the vampires. And so we watched almost all of those. I think I haven't seen the fourth one. I think there's only 4. And I haven't seen, there was like spin-offs too. I haven't watched any of those. But the behind the scenes stuff is great. And I think you could actually find them on YouTube now too. And I'm betting it's on you said you have it on DVD, Puppet Master on DVD?
Yeah, I'm trying to see where the spot is.
Your outfit is super cute, by the way. I just saw the skirt and the nylons.
Thank you. I'm trying to make sure it stays covered though. 1 second. Pull this out. Because it's gonna bother me. Okay, so where's the freaking trophy head? Okay, there's trophy head. I figured that it would be next to that, but it's not. Where the fuck are they? I actually have 2, but I have one in a pile to send away to someone. Okay, if I don't find it in 5 seconds, I'm gonna quit. Motherfucker. I don't know if I'll pull it to watch. Come on, bitch. Oh no, that's the new one. Shit. There's the Phantasm. I never can find something when I'm specifically looking for it. I'll have to look 3 or 4 times.
See, okay, this is the Virgo in me, but I have organized all my DVDs are by genre and then by alphabetical order. And then my mom's are all by alphabetical order, but I only pulled her horror movies up here, so I don't have to do it by genre. And then my VHS tapes are just alphabetical order, except for the horror ones, which are also separated.
Yeah, I'm trying to have a method to my madness, but I don't know. I just don't know. Like I wanted to put on the VHS, the series that you like. Like I had them all together, and I was like trying to keep. Then I was trying to like keep franchises together, and then like, okay, well I'm going to organize by directors, and so like us like. But it's so hard. So I'm like, okay, we'll do franchises and then directors of what I don't know. I can't figure it out. I used to have it all alphabetized and I just can't figure it out.
Well, it's hard to choose what's the priority too when you have all of those factors you want to put in.
Oh yeah. Is it over there? I give up. See, I got that one on hand. But this one's really it was from the producers of Bone Tomahawk and The Meg, which I didn't really care for The Meg, but I was in a bad mood when I watched it. But I think it wasn't Dee Wallace, it was Barbara Crampton.
Oh, nice.
And then this is a full moon picture that I love. It is so cheesy. But if you loved Puppet Master and stuff, I feel like you'd like it. But he's like getting all the horror scream queens.
Whoa.
There's Linnea. They have the subspecies girl, I believe. And then a few other people. But he wants to make like a trophy wall out of them, which is called trophy heads. So nice. Pretty much figure out. But it's really, I found that at Texas Farm Air. It's really good. So I don't know. Maybe you can check it out one day.
Well, I think Full Moon now has their own streaming service too, where you can watch all of their movies, which part of me wants to get it, but it's like another streaming service, another one. And can I watch any of the Full Moon Entertainment stuff without having to rent it on anything else that I already have a subscription for? But I haven't done the research to know that I do or not, but I'm tempted. And I don't think they have this offer anymore, but when they first came out with their streaming service, if you paid for the entire year up front, which was like 50 something, so it wasn't that expensive for an entire year if you add up how much you're paying for Netflix in a year. But and Amazon, God, that's like 100 something for a whole year. But you got, I think, all the Puppet Master movies on a special Blu-ray collection that they created. I think it's Blu-ray, mailed to you. I don't think they're doing that anymore, but part of me kind of wishes I had taken them up on that offer, just because I'm starting to collect more again. I gotta stop spending my money on these things, but can't help it. I love it. I just bought for Prime Day, because there's no other way that I'm going to be buying these DVDs. I bought all the Resident Evil movies on DVD. They had a collection for Prime Day that was cheap, so I could have gotten Blu-ray. It was way more expensive, and I don't think those movies are worth that. Maybe the first one. First one I love, but the rest of them.
I think the second one I liked, all right. If that was the one with Allie, was it Allie Larder?
She's in a few of them, actually. I think is she in the second one?
It's when they're like, they go and like, they take like that big vehicle, I think, to drive, and then there's like this like gate. I don't know.
Are you talking about the one where they're in like Vegas, but the desert has taken over?
I think that might be it.
That's the third one. I think that's the one where Allie Larder shows up. The second one has this girl with dark hair.
Okay. And the second one, she's waking up, right? She's in the hospital after it happened. Or is that at the beginning of the first?
It's at the, because she wakes up in the shower at the beginning of the first. She is at the very end of the first one, waking up in the lab, and then she goes out to Raccoon City, and there's nothing out there. Everybody's been eaten or turned. And then in the second one, she also, like at the end, there's like a helicopter crash or something because they decide to blow up Raccoon City. And then she wakes up in a lab there with even more powers. She's been turned into like a weapon, but she doesn't know it, but they also can't really control her yet. And then the third one is the one in Vegas. Fourth one is the one, what is the fourth one? The fourth one is the one where they start off on the rooftop with Allie Larder, who has no memory.
Like fighting Nemesis or Mr. X or something.
Nemesis is part 2, which was the guy who was the brother of the girl that was helping out the main character. I have two on DVD and I have one on VHS before I even got this pack. But I wanted all the other movies because the other ones are just, they're fun to watch, but they're not that great. And I hadn't seen the last one yet, and I still haven't even watched it now that I have it, but I wanted to be able to watch it. So now I have it, and then that's it. I can say I'm done now. I don't think they're making any more of those movies, so I'm done with that now.
Oh no, they did it. Yeah.
Wait, what?
They've like, I believe they rebooted it. They rebooted it, or it's a remake, one or the other. Yeah. I'm like, why? I'm like, just bring Resident Evil Village, like the video game. I'm not worried about more movies. Like, I just want your video game. But
okay, so are they going to, because I know a lot of, like, I don't play the games. I wish I was more into video games. I just don't have the time or the resources for that right now. But I might eventually get into gaming. But I know people were really upset with Resident Evil because Alice is the main character in the movies, but I guess she's not the main character in the games, right?
no, it's like Claire, what's her name? Claire Redfield and Jill Valentine, I believe. And then they're like the main ones, the main girls. You've got different ones and other ones, but they're the ones that always stick out to me. They're like in most, like a handful of them. And then they have like Leon or Chris Redfield, which Chris is Claire's brother. And so those are like the four like big stars. Then whenever you come to like the 5 and 6, it's different. I'm still learning those on the games, but 7, it's some other dude altogether, and it's changes up. It's different, but yeah, from the other ones, those are the main girls. I don't recall an Alice in any of them, unless it's like in the Revelations Resident Evil games. But
okay, well, I think Jill Valentine was introduced in part 2, and that was the girl with the dark hair, who I think they bring back possibly with a different actress with long blonde hair and a ponytail. And then Claire, I think, might be Allie Larder's character.
yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it still all centers around Alice in the movies. I know people got really upset about that. And I'm like, from a movie perspective, she's my favorite character. She's the chick I want to be in these movies. Mm-hmm. I get that they probably could have made Jill or Claire into that character instead somehow, but I like her being a badass. I like that. But okay, so we got it's a fun track that we got off on, but I'm gonna bring us back into Tourist Trap because we still have the endings to talk about.
Perfect.
In the end, Molly ends up hatcheting Mr. SLAUSEN because he gets distracted dancing with his dead wife's mannequin. Creepy ass scene. And she freaks out. Also, very, very, very creepy that these mannequins are like singing at the same time, which is just another thing where I'm like, he's not just moving things. He's telepathically making people hear and see things because they keep doing the jaw dropping and the speaking thing. Oh, that part I think made the movie for me because it was so creepy. Like the one scene where he throws the mannequin head in front of her and it turns and the jaw drops. And
it's so gross. I agree.
Creepy.
What?
But she gets away because she's able to, while he's distracted, hatchet him in the neck and kill him because he's just a human like everybody else. He dies the same way we do and runs away. But she runs away with her friends in their mannequin form in the Jeep. And you see her driving down the highway with the mannequins. She's got Eileen, she's got Becky, and we didn't really get to see Becky's mannequin well because we really only saw Becky die. We never saw her turn. But I'm assuming the one random mannequin we saw was Becky's. You got Woody, who they finally found, and you got Jerry, who, by the way, he smashed Jerry's head, so I don't know how Jerry is put back together so soon. So, is Molly crazy by the end of this movie?
Probably shit, I would be. After all that, like, especially like if you don't know what the hell you just experienced, like kind of like at the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre when it's Sally Hardesty who escapes, right?
Yeah.
She's just like in the back of that truck and she's just like maniacally laughing because she's just like, oh, you know. So I kind of feel like she probably has that moment, you know, it might not last. She might snap out of it. But I mean, after you've been through a traumatic experience where someone's trying to take your life or the life of your friends, it definitely messes with your head. Like, and not just short term, but like long term. Like, so I just hope she had a good therapist.
I wonder if there's any way that, because, you know, you see the Jerry mannequin and he's so well preserved after Mr. Slausen had destroyed him. Is she taking on Mr. Slausen's, like, maybe not necessarily his telekinetic powers, but like his ability to turn dead bodies into mannequins? Like, is she going to continue the reign? There's no sequel to Tourist Trap, right?
Not that I know of. I don't believe
Right?
so. That would be something else, though. That would be a pretty exciting ending. Like, I kind of wish they had some of that.
Well, you know, the girl who played Molly is still around, so we can just have the mannequins and her, and then a whole new group of, she's older now. She's probably Mr. Slausen's age now. We could have a whole new group of youngsters, get them together, and have her kill them, and then maybe she also figured out how to have telekinetic powers. The trauma unleashed something in her. Her PTSD brought out, you know, psychic abilities. Blumhouse or Full Moon, if you're still making movies, call me. Let's get this. Let's do this. Let's make this movie happen.
That would be so cool.
All right. What are your final thoughts on this movie?
I love it. I think it's just a fun one to rewatch. It's not, you know, it's not the same thing you're used to watching. It has a good cast. What are my final thoughts? Well, I'm kind of wishing now that there was a sequel, but I just like it because like they start and like home dude, what was it, Woody, like walks up in the gas station and like all hell breaks loose, and it's just like one creepy thing from the next. Like you kind of don't know what to expect. And then you see people doing the stuff they were told not to, you know, they're going to meet their demise. I mean, I thought it was pretty damn well written and portrayed on screen.
I absolutely agree. I think especially that opening scene, you don't know what the hell is going on, who's controlling what, who's got his arm in the door when he's trying to get himself out of the door, and it's just creep factor from the very beginning. And I think they had a really great way of carrying that tone to the very end. What surprised me is that this movie, when it came out, I saw this on IMDb, was rated PG, and it's rated PG-13 now because they didn't have PG-13 back then. But I think that it was the director who said this movie would have been more successful if they had gotten an R rating. And I watch it and I'm like, you've got the scene where he's got the pole in his back, Woody, you see the blood dripping out of it. You see Tanya Roberts get a pole in the back of her head, or no, a knife in the back of her head. And just the creepiness of the entire movie, you think it might qualify for an R. But, you know, there's no nudity. You see the skinny dipping, but no boobs. So I think if they had boobs, then it would definitely be an R rated. But no, this is maybe it's a good gateway horror for people. So.
Yeah, I can't believe it was parental or just PG, you know, like back in the day. Like maybe that's why we were able to watch like Puppet Master and stuff like that. Maybe they didn't, you know, maybe they had different ratings back then. And
to our benefit, definitely.
Oh yeah, like that was my favorite thing growing up, was going to the movie store and going to the horror section, especially since they'd have like the little 99-cent ones, and like the best thing. Miss that more than anything.
Yeah. Have you seen the documentary In Search of Darkness?
I still have not watched it. I need to, especially since they're going to do a part 2.
Yeah. They came out with the part 2. I haven't seen part 2 yet, but it's not available to the public or on Shudder yet, which part 1's on Shudder now. But they did with part 2 like they did with part 1, where you could buy into it early. You get like a poster and other things, access to their community where they have like conferences online with horror celebrities, but their community where you could go on a Zoom call and see this person speak about the movie they were in. I think they did like Jeffrey Combs and some of the Nightmare on Elm Street cast were on it. So they're doing that. And then I think in sometime probably later this year, probably closer to summer, like what they did with In Search of Darkness 1, they'll release it for people to buy just the digital copy, which is what I did. I bought the digital copy, and that'll be like, or you could rent or buy. I bought it though, but you could do that, and that'll be like $17, $20. And then in a few months after that, they'll probably release it on Shudder in time for Halloween. So I will probably buy part 2 because I bought part 1 and I like having everything a set. But it's a digital copy and you need to be able to either access that website all the time, which I don't want to do, or you could do a Chrome plugin like I did and just copy the video that they sent, because the file format they sent was able to be copied by this Chrome link, which I'm sure is a great way for people to copy things and then illegally sell it. But I only made a copy for myself. So now I have a DVD that I can put in my DVD player.
Yeah, I mean, because you bought it anyway. You're going to have to give me some tips on how to do that. So because if it's only that amount, then I definitely want to buy it myself. And I don't like having to stream anything because it's just so freaking hard. You never know when the internet's going to cut out or when it's raining and then it makes it worse. So like I gotta have hard copies.
Yeah, well, there's that, and also because I've got my iPhone and my dad's old iPhone, I'm on I got on a senior plan with my dad, so he got his first smartphone and it's an old iPhone from a friend, and now we both have our own hotspots. So when our power goes out here, we just turn on our hotspot, and I can't stream on my Roku because you still have to have the power plugged in for that. But I can use my laptop and stream for as long as my battery will let me on my laptop, or just watch stuff directly on my phone. But you also don't know when a streaming service is going to stop carrying a movie. Like, there were all these great John Carpenter movies on Shudder, and now a lot of them are gone. Like, I can't even remember if they have The Fog anymore. I think I went to watch The Fog for Terror Tuesdays and it was already gone. I had to rent it, or maybe I bought it. That feels like a movie I should have bought, but I may have rented just to save a few bucks, or maybe it was extra expensive because it was close to Halloween. I don't know.
Yeah, I was being lazy the other day, and I had looked through the collection and I couldn't find my 28 days later than 28 weeks later, like the double combo. So I was like, okay, I can't find it. I'm just going to be lazy and find somewhere to stream it. I could not find anywhere to stream it at all. So then I had to go back and look through, which I found it. But I was just like, the one time I want to use streaming, and it just, can't do it. But yeah, like I hate to remove stuff from streaming services that you've been looking forward to watching and have, had to put off for whatever reasons. It's such a letdown. But I guess they got to make for new titles, or the license with them expires. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, like, especially with Shudder, it's a horror movie hub. You should have all the horror movies. Get working on that. I know licenses from different studios, it makes it really complicated, but work on it.
Right.
So hopefully one day it'll be an actual horror movie hub. I feel like there's more horror movie hubs coming out though. Like Full Moon, we were talking about, has their own streaming service. I saw something else on. I think Chiller might have their own now too. Yeah.
I used to watch the Chiller channel back whenever they had their channel, and like it got me onto like some of like Rest Stop and Roadkill and Rest Stop 2, like some cheesy horror movies, but I loved them. I think did I watch Wolf Creek on that, or am I delusional? But anyway, what I was going to say. So I want to check that out.
Wolf Creek. I think I saw Wolf Creek in the theaters with my mom. I know I watched it with my mom. We saw the first Wolf Creek. I haven't seen any of the sequels, but we also watched it around the same time as High Tension, which came out around the same time. But that was, I think, in French, and I think we got that one we rented. I love the movie of the ending of High Tension. I'm shocked that people are like so upset about it, but I'm not going to spoil that one. Maybe we'll talk about that one in a future episode. But yeah, both really gory death movies with a serial killer. I love them. So I think I saw Wolf Creek in theaters.
I'm so jealous. High Tension is one that I have pulled to potentially add to the Film and Flames. So it's funny to say that. You don't see the ending coming, but it is like, I guess it could be hard to process, but I mean, like, I thought it was a good twist, good crazy twist.
Well, yeah, I'd say add it to the list. It gives me another reason to watch it because I haven't watched it since my first viewing too.
Would you consider A Simple Favor like a thriller?
Okay, so I haven't seen this movie yet, but I've seen the preview 1,000 times. And to me, it sounds like it could be a thriller, and depending on what happened to the missing person. So I know Blair Lively's character goes missing at one point. It could be a horror, but I don't know. I think like it gives me that same single white female vibe, and single white female is definitely considered a horror. Also, one movie that I can't watch really more than once because of the whole puppy off the balcony scene. I know you don't see it, but just the fact that she tossed the puppy from the balcony and they talk about it, I can't. Cute puppies, no. It's bad enough when they kill older dogs. Just leave the puppies alone. I mean, yeah, she steps on the girl's boyfriend with her heel. I don't fucking care about that dude. I care about the puppy.
Yeah, for real. Maybe he needed to be stepped on. Not the puppy, but the dude.
Yeah.
Just
But
kidding.
yeah, would you consider A Simple Favor to be horror?
I can't decide. I want it to be horror because I want to discuss it, but I feel like a lot of people will be like, that's thriller. But I mean, I just don't know. I don't know. But it's like, I don't know. I just really like the movie and I want to talk about it. So I'm going to have to look it up and see. It's got like some funny scenes in there and then just like some downright crazy scenes. But if not that, then I'm thinking Gone Girl.
Ooh, I haven't seen that one either. But I've had it spoiled for me though. I've already had it spoiled for me.
Damn it.
But I still want to watch it though. So put it on the list.
It's so good. She did the series Sharp Objects, right? With Amy.
The person who made the movie?
Yeah, the person who wrote the books and then did the screenplay. She did for HBO or Showtime. It had Amy Adams. It was a limited series event, and that was really good. And then there's this one more movie that she has. I think Charlize Theron plays in it, but I can't remember the name of it. But that girl is talented. I really like her work.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard great things about Sharp Objects, and that's another thing I just haven't sat down and watched too. Like, there's just so much to watch nowadays. And you know, the last season of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina came out last week. Yeah. I very much want to watch that too. So got a lot of sitting down and watching things. I need to work out while I'm watching things.
Well, it's hard when you're planning for so much stuff to like watch what you would normally watch because you're focusing on other things that you do like, but then you don't have the time for that. So yeah, Liz.
Eventually. At least I know that Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is a Netflix original, so they're not going to be removing their originals.
Right. I still need to watch season 3. I'm behind.
Season 3 was good. I'm excited to see, because season 4 is the finale. They're not coming out with any more episodes, so you're going to see how it all ends for that story. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I can't wait for it.
All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our discussion for today's movies. What do you have coming up this week?
This week, what's today's date? The 4th. I have the 10th. I'm supposed to do an episode with my friend Constance. She's on Instagram. It's like is.mise, mise.magic. But she might have it spelled like MAGICK. But we're gonna do like a true crime kind of thing. And then so I don't really have all that much this week, but for the 13th I have Pillar of Thriller, and then also Charles Campbell and Elena. I forgot her last name, but she's a special effects artist. So, and that's all I can think of offhand without my calendar. What about you? Did you get Cat Coven done?
No, I have been so disorganized by the holiday. I didn't even make it out to my band practice last week because one of my brothers decided to come on that day instead of a different day and just thrown me for a whole loop. And I still have to go visit my one brother and deliver the gifts that came late to my house. So I have to fit all that in. I'm taking this week to get things made before I post them. So Cat Coven, I filmed everything last week, but I need to sit down. I need to edit it. I'm going, I spent time a couple days ago rearranging some furniture so that I have a proper desk space, but I don't have a proper desk chair. I sit on this couch, as comfy as this couch is to fall asleep on, and I am in pain. Like, I'll be leaning back too much and it'll hurt my back, or I'll be leaning forward too much with my ottoman here in front of me just to do stuff on my laptop. And then I can't, whatever position I'm in, I can't move my laptop, because if I move it with my little hard drive connected to it, it ejects the hard drive, which like hurts the hard drive. So I can't move things around. So now I have a proper desk space set up, which will also make it easier for me to do music things, because I've got my mic set up and my keyboard right next to it, my MIDI keyboard on top of it. I'm going desk chair shopping this week because the chair I have is old and uncomfortable. I almost went the gaming chair route. You were talking about gaming chairs like a week or two ago.
Little go behind your back that like can fit with your arch, because like me, it's hard to not sit with a pillow behind it. So if you did, but you probably found one a different kind that could have that too.
Well, I swear I've been looking at chairs for like 3 days straight, and I still haven't decided what I want. So I think I'm just gonna go grocery shopping and go chair shopping out in person. I think I decided not to do the gaming chair thing, because I like today I saw a video this morning saying that almost all gaming chairs you see online to buy, like Amazon or in a Wayfair or other stores, they're all made the same. And there's been like studies about how like the armrests are the most uncomfortable armrests, and people are getting carpal tunnel from it. Granted, these are gamers who are constantly there, but I'm a video editor. I am going to be there often too. So, and you can't always get armrests that move, and I need armrests that move. So I think I'm just going back to regular office chair, and I just need something that's sturdy and that can tilt up and down and back and forth that I need, and something with some padding. So once I get that, it'll be a lot easier for me to get things done, because I'll be comfortable doing it. But my goal is that by next week, I'll have a set schedule for when I want to put things out on my YouTube channel specifically. Terror Tuesdays is still coming out this week, so that's happening. I do those ahead of time anyway, so that's easy. And this week's movie, which will be a few days before this episode comes out, is Monster Squad, which I have on DVD. So it's really easy for me to plug that in and watch. You don't have that one?
Shame.
It's the good one. It's a good one to get.
I'm gonna have to.
Absolutely. So I'm doing Terror Tuesday still, and everything that goes with it. But by next week, the way I would like to see my schedule go is like maybe not Mondays, like Wednesdays would be whatever Graves Corner is, whether it's a very Graves production like Cat Coven, or whatever movie subject I'm talking about that day. Then on like Fridays would be a music thing, because I really want to get back to my music stuff. And then on Sundays, maybe I would make it Mondays, and then Wednesdays, Thursdays, and then Sundays would be live. I want to go live on Sundays on YouTube, because I don't go live enough, and I always have fun when I do. Although I might just make it specific to YouTube and not try to do YouTube and Instagram. And maybe I'll try to do both. But I was doing live tarot readings for the week back in the day. And I think I might bring that back. So that's, yeah. Oh, also, I haven't talked to you about this yet, and I don't know if he would have reached out to you either. This might change our schedule at some point. Have you heard from He's Crafty recently? Okay, is he sending you a copy of the VHS?
Yes.
Okay, because he's sending me one too. I have no idea what this movie is going to be about, but I'm very excited to watch it, and I think we may dedicate an episode to talking about it if it's really funny.
Hell yeah. I think that's a great idea.
So maybe we'll get him to come on. I think that could be a great get.
That's what I was thinking you were gonna say. I think it would be good. And then he can talk about like how he created it and everything, and just like the behind the scenes kind of stuff. Because you know he doesn't lack any personality. You know he's gonna be able to keep it going, and just he's a natural on screen like you.
Oh, stop.
No, seriously.
You hold your own too.
Thanks. Thank you. I'm trying.
Well, I think that it would definitely be a fun day having him on here. So I can't wait to get this VHS tape.
I can't either. Yeah, he's like, I mentioned it to Mary and I'm sending her a copy. And he's like, would you like one? I'm like, hell yeah, like that's cool. Like, especially because it's something that you've become friends with and it's on VHS. Like that just like makes it like so much cooler and kind of nostalgic, you know. But yeah,
Watch, he'll send us these tapes and it'll really be like The Ring, and we'll be cursed after watching them.
that would be some bad luck.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, that is it for today. Thank you for joining us. Again, I'm Mary Graves.
And I'm Heather. Thank y'all for watching or listening, whichever.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye, girl.